all viewers, lovers of netball, delegates outside there. My name is Harriet Margaret Apolot. I am a delegate from Uganda Secondary School Sports Association, a special interest group. I had interest and intention to stand as the first vice president administration in the forthcoming elections. Unfortunately, I am turning down my interest, and I want to tell all the viewers in there that outside there that I have turned down and I have not picked the nomination forms, neither have I submitted the nomination forms because of some irregularities in the constitution, in the guidelines of the elections, and in the forms that have been issued out by the normalization committee. I want to mention a few with the interest of time. For example, if you look at the guidelines which were given to us by the normalization committee, 7.3, eligibility of the requirements needed by the people or the aspirant to participate in these elections. Subsection C, it states a person must have participated in netball as netball as a Super League player, Super League official, or administrator. In this case, you find that USSA is not captured in here very clearly. And it is so discriminative that they are talking about Super League, and special interest groups have not been mentioned here. So as a delegate from Uganda Secondary School Sports Association that falls under Super League, I felt I was already knocked out. This does not give me the platform to participate on the forthcoming elections freely because I was already locked out of this. When you look at another one in the guidelines, subsections 7.5, subsection C, it states that one delegate from a recognized national association active in playing netball. Subsection Roman 2, which says secondary schools, where I fall, of course, this would be okay. But then when you look at the 7.3, it already blocks me out because I am not, or I don't fall in Super League. USSA is under schools under special interest group. So with those kind of irregularities which tied me up, I felt it was wastage of time for me to submit in my nomination form. Yet I am not comfortable with all the guidelines which have been given by the normalization committee. On top of that, you look at 7.6, still on the guidelines given, you realize that it states that all netball clubs outside the Super League division are recognized as members. As at 21st of September 2024, where a group of people, a few section of people were allowed in this assembly of 21st of September, USSA in particular was locked out. And me, I never attended that. I was locked out because I had not paid up. I was not recognized as a special interest group. So I wondered, why should I then put in my forms when I am not even on that assembly where they recognized a few of the delegates that were supposed to participate. So I realized that this is unfairly done. It has not captured all the interest of all the delegates, even from the district level. And to make it worse, they want us to put in our nomination forms before the districts even carry out their elections. And yet, how do I then gauge my stand? I thought it is supposed to start from the district so that I get to know where are my voters, where is my support before I submit in my forms. But in this case, they need us to submit forms before we even get to know who are the electorates at the districts, who are the people coming in to vote. So I discovered it was really unfair and it was not right. And for that reason, I decided to withdraw my forms. I never submitted them to the normalization committee for the post of the first vice president. I thank you all viewers for listening to me. God bless you.
It's really painful. I want to appreciate the press who have come here to this press conference. I'm calling it a bad day because when I remember the last constitution passing that was held in Lugogo, where you, the press, were locked out, it really hurt me because you are supposed to give the viewers what was really happening during that day. Ladies and gentlemen, the viewers watching us, Uganda Netball Federation, if you remember, the license was revoked, but the General Assembly was never dissolved. That's a point to consider. Now, when you look at the letter from the World Netball, it said it gave the mandate, the Normalization Committee, to normalize Uganda Netball Federation. It didn't tell them to bring a new body called Netball Uganda. And therefore, neither were the Board of Trustees. When the Normalization Committee was given the duty, it did not introduce themselves to the Board of Trustees. And therefore, they went ahead to do certain things without the consent of the Board of Trustees because they were not even dissolved. Now, when you look at the constitution making, it is supposed to involve a lot of stakeholders. It is a supreme document that mans the sport in a country. Moreover, a sport that goes up to the World Cup. Netball is a sport that we are proud of, that makes our players go to the World Netball and later become professional players. This constitution was passed by a few people, not looking at the stakeholders right from the grassroots, because netball is played right from primary schools. You go to secondary, you go to tertiary institutions, and higher institutions of learning like the university. These people were locked out by bringing in provisional clubs. If we are beginning something new, Netball Uganda, then we would have begun everything that was new. How do you bring in even the super clubs? And then you leave out the district delegates, because they were never dissolved. This is an outcry for everybody. I have been a regional chair for Eastern. How do you begin telling people that you are locked out as delegates? I was personally locked out. And they were telling me, we are going to look through did you confirm your participation? Somebody goes in and comes out more than twice, thrice. Then later the message they gave me, please, you didn't confirm your participation. Yet I confirmed my participation. And they told me, you can come in, but you can be as an observer. 1992, I've been in netball, coaching, officiating netball. It really pains when you see such a statement being given to you. So with these guidelines that have been given, a constitution which is passed, where you are putting stringent measures to ensure that you avoid other people, it's really very bad. I really doubt with some of those people who are going to serve on the executive that may come without the other side, whether some of these people might have been Super League players or officials. Some of them are going through clubs which do not no longer even exist. They were relegated. But still they are coming in that they are provisional clubs. Still very bad. Now, coming in, picking nomination forms before you have the grassroots elections at the district, and you are paying in your 800,000 to stand as a regional chair. And yet you are saying only clubs that were confirmed, that were there by 21st. And yet the payments was in June, that was the deadline. How do you extend the deadline to September? Yet the first letters that were given were saying in June. Then you bring in the guideline and say by September 21st. Ladies and gentlemen, in the Constitution, the first consultative meeting, we removed certain positions like honorary treasurer, honorary treasurer and secretary, but again it was brought back. It is in. Some of these things are not proper. Because if we have a secretariat, why bring in some of these positions? Because the CEO is acting as a secretary of the federation. Why do you bring in a secretary when you have a CEO? And the secretariat must have a treasurer. Why do you, an accountant? Then why do you bring in a treasurer? We are already seeing that people are supposed to resign from federations where they are serving in other positions. It is on record Go down. Some of these people who are going to stand in these elections, you'll see. By yesterday, some of them had not yet resigned. And they are crying, they are saying, now we don't know, they are standing on two legs. If I resign this way, I might miss the other side. They have not resigned. In some of them, you know them. But they are there. You'll see them on the ballot paper when they have not resigned in the other federations where they are having executive positions. Where you are putting stringent measures that some candidates, once you don't have this sports administration, you must have a higher diploma. What does the Constitution of Uganda say? Does one become a member of parliament when you have a certificate or a degree in political science? We give an example of Mourinho. Did he ever play football? He didn't. But isn't he a good coach? Isn't he in football? Why lock out people? It's really very bad and disheartening. I'm scared we are beginning Netball Uganda. It's going to be on record. We are telling Ugandans out there who love Netball, believe me or not, we shall not go to the first 5. Because Netball Uganda is beginning something new. It is something new. Therefore, Uganda is not ranked under Netball Uganda. And we are giving space for other countries to come and take our position. Malawi is already warming up. I am sure they have petitioned World Netball for Uganda not to participate in first 5 net tournament. It is really disheartening. But ladies and gentlemen, normalization committee was supposed to come and normalize. But to our dismay, I have withdrawn my candidature for regional chair Eastern. I have not picked the nomination forms because of some of these things that we are seeing that are not proper. I thank you so much for being here. If things change, because I petitioned Parliament to come and at least help us and save us. In the previous elections, nobody was locked out, and the former elections were organized very well, free and fair. We moved around and everybody participated, and victory was for everybody, saw that the victory was there where everybody was participating. So I pray to our delegates who are district delegates and those special interest groups, we are sorry, but bear with us. That is the stand we've taken for the good of Netball. If nothing changes, we shall have put. We also want the new name. We are told there were a lot of datas. That's why they were changing to Netball Uganda. We needed to know those that are datas. Let them bring out the list that they were demanding, the Uganda Netball Federation. Let them bring out the list and we see. Because it's government of Uganda paying for these dates. It is not an individual. So these dates, government of Uganda cannot fail to pay. That's the reason why they were changing the name from Uganda Netball Federation to Netball Uganda. Government is capable to pay debts. If it can bail out some business people who are bankrupt, who are being demanded by banks, what about a sport that goes out to the world and participate in the netball, participate in the what? In the World Cup. I also get confused when you tell me to go and get a certificate from police as one of the conditions to stand as a candidate. As if you are not a Ugandan, as if you have ever committed a crime. I don't know where Mr. Mwase acts as a president of Uganda Swimming Federation also went through this process of going to the police to pick a letter in order for him to stand as the president of Uganda Swimming Federation. So ladies and gentlemen, that's where we are. Our dear delegates who are there, we've been moving towards your ends, talking to you about these general elections of our federation. We are sorry, bear with us, but if things change, believe me or not, we shall get back to the ground and seek for your mandate. And more so, you delegates, you are still delegates. You were never dissolved as district delegates and even special interest groups. those delegates of those special interest groups, you were never dissolved. Actually, to bring in the normalization committee, some of us on the executive, we were told just to step aside. Just stepping aside to allow normalization go with these activities to prepare for the governance issues which were raised by the World Netball. Thank you so much for listening. May God bless our delegates. I'm Mudasi Ronald Davis, former regional chair, Eastern. Ginger.
Viewers, I am here again today with my heart broken because I'm looking at how netball will be managed and played right from the grassroots. My name is Ochaya Charles. I travel right from Magago district because I have love for this game called netball. If I can recall very well, before netball controversy started, we were playing netball very well from our district. We were having clubs, primary schools were playing, secondary schools were playing, even the community started to love netball. Now, when the guideline came, and I read through the guidelines, then the constitution, I became so worried. I remember also very well on the 21st, during the conference, almost about 78 people from different regions representing districts as delegates came. I was one of them. We were locked out. And we were trying to inquire from one of the committees the reason as to why we were locked out. Then they said they are still consulting the Super League clubs. Thereafter, they're going to call the delegates. Diplomatically, we went back to our respective districts. But we see things moving on. Letters were passed for people to pick nomination forms. And the issue of calling delegates are now dying. I could say it is now dead. Now, in my own understanding, under normal circumstance, I thought maybe after consulting as the delegates from the various districts, just like it has happened before, for us to also have a say in the constitution, because netball starts right from the grassroots, all this thing was not done, and it is not going to be done. I ask myself, what is so special about netball normalization that they don't consider delegates as being important, and yet they were important before, during the time when netball was running normally? What is so unique? What has the delegate done that they are not now important in this constitution, making of the constitution? So that question keeps on running on in my mind, and I fail to give an answer. Now, coming to the election process, the guidelines vis-a-vis the constitution saying the delegates should be elected at the district level. But this is the delegate whom you lock them outside. And you are again attaching a condition that you must have paid before the 21st. If this gathering can help us get a document of the number of delegates who have paid that 200,000 by the 21st, I would be so happy. I know in Uganda there are over 130 districts. That is already 100 and more than 200 delegates. If the constitution is made just that it governs the whole federation, to me, I believe the voice of the delegates matters a lot. I have come to conclusion that what is happening, it is with ill intention. It's really bad, and it will not take netball anywhere. That is the main reason as to why I am here. And we continue crying. Whoever have a chance of helping us should come and help us so that netball is played the usual way it has been happening sometimes back. So this is my prayer, and I pray that it happens the way I suggest. Thank you so much.